good afternoon, good morning. We're going to talk today about blogging, how to start a blog. The title of my talk is How to Start a Blog. I wanted to show you guys the three most important or the three most common platforms for starting a blog. This one right here is called Blogger. Blogger is used for 35% of the blogs on the internet today. This blog is a WordPress site. WordPress is used for 43% of the blogs on the internet today. And this is an example of a Tumblr site. Tumblr is used by 16% of bloggers. So if you're thinking about starting a blog, first thing you want to do is choose which platform you would like to use. And each one, you can choose the layout, you can choose the theme. You have some extent of control over what the blog will look like. And hopefully the layout that you choose will correspond with your theme. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about are the steps. First thing you want to do when you're getting ready to start a blog is think. Think about what you know. What are you an expert in? What field? Think about what your audience might look like, who your audience might be, how large of an audience you would want to have for your blog. That brings me to the idea of research. You'll want to research the market. You might want to look at other blogs similar to the one that you're planning on launching and see how their layout looks and how much traffic they have. Once you've thought about what you want to write about and what your audience might be, you might collect all the research that you've found and analyze basically how you're going to go about doing it, what format you're going to use, and what topics you might choose to write about. Then go ahead and write. You might be wondering, why would I start a blog? Well, 40 to 50% of students quit their doctoral program. 1/3 of that attrition happens at the dissertation or thesis writing stage. Blogging is a creative activity that helps graduate students practice writing. That way, the act of writing a thesis or dissertation is not as overwhelming when you get there. Yes, Americans are very likely to rely on the internet nowadays for their primary source of science and technology information. And blogging is a great way to become well known in your field. For what you do, it can be a way of generating jobs when you're done with school. Some of the things you might want to consider in choosing your blogging platform are, would your blog consist mainly of images? Images can be used to evoke emotional responses in your readers. They could be entertaining. They could be educational as well. Infographics are very hot right now. Maybe your blog is going to be mainly text-based, but following a journalistic style is a good thing to do when you're starting a blog. And that means providing factual content with sources, references. And a good length to think about is between 100 to 1,000 words for one blog post. If you write a real manifesto that's longer than that, it's okay. You might want to write a brief abstract and then link to the longer content. That will draw those interested readers to the longer version of your post. There's a software that you can use to analyze the level at which your writing is for the reader. The average American reads at about an 8th or 9th grade level. So there are sources that you can use to check to make sure that your writing is appropriate for the general audience or for your audience. And one other thing you want to consider is if you categorize your posts, that will bring more traffic. And when you're starting your blog, this talk is about starting your blog, it's good to think about both your theme that you would be an expert at, that you could share with the general public, and also what categories you might break that theme into, what subcategories. Safety concerns for this activity are that you will want to keep your blog professional. You never know what employers could find out about you using a web-based search. And also, don't share personal information such as your home address or your home telephone number or your cell phone number. That's definitely something that is not appropriate for a blog. Okay, so hopefully based on the information that I've given you now, you have filled in the handout. Learning objectives 1 and 2. Learning objective 1 is what are the platforms available. Learning objective 2 is what are the steps to starting a blog. Then learning objectives 3 and 4, you might want to think about doing those as homework. So that would be a take-home activity. Think about your expertise, your passions, what you might like to write about. To review, WordPress, one of the sites for hosting blogs, already has 42 million blogs. Blogger hosts 38 million blogs. Tumblr hosts 39 million blogs. These facts were taken from different years. That's why they don't line up with the percentages that I showed you earlier. Most people never make even $100 from their blog. But because of the reason that blogging is a way to get out your expertise, and because Americans are relying on blogs for scientific information, I would encourage you as chemists to start blogging. It shows the human side of chemistry as a profession, and it can be a source of scientific information for the public. Let's see. The holy grail of any academic career is to get a scientific publication, but scientific articles don't come out as often as blogs do. There's only 1.8 million new scientific articles per year. The sad thing is that many scientific articles are never cited or shared with anyone, whereas blogs are viewed by 329 million people, and those are only the WordPress statistics. Are there any questions about how to start a blog?